What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Spurs are in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup after beating Coventry 2-1 thanks to a late show from Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson scoring that late winner. But that is not the full story. After watching that game, Coventry will absolutely be gutted they haven't gone through, considering how for pretty much 88 minutes they were by far the better team, and Spurs can count their lucky stars to be in the fourth round. I'm here with Amir. It's a really interesting and difficult game to digest, because obviously I'm elated and delighted that we've gotten through, and the way we got it in dramatic fashion as well. You'd usually be buzzing after a win like that, but I'm just sitting here feeling that even after a brilliant win, there's still so many more questions and answers after that game.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It leaves a bit of a bad taste in your mouth, because the performance itself, the way we played, the way we applied ourselves during that first half and for really most of the game just wasn't on. And we weren't doing the right things in the attacking third, and we weren't creating, we weren't, making chances, shooting. And then all of a sudden you get a little bit of quality on. You get Kulu on, you get Madders on, you get Sonny on. And you see that even just with that little bit of star factor, that quality, we managed to carve out a couple of opportunities. And lucky for us, look, Spence, great little finish, little dinked finish after some wonderful work by Kulusevski. And of course, Brennan with a sublime finish, really, a little dinked finish to beat the Coventry keeper. And we go through and we live to fight another day. Will those kind of performances get us over the line in the Prem? Not a chance. But do we have something to build off for the next few games? Yeah, we do, because we're in to the next round. That's all that matters at this stage.
Definitely. And hopefully we can put this kind of performance behind us and we can perform better, because we can't perform like this going forward. But look, this is your chance to have your say. If you want to come on the fan show, the link is in the community section. And I think it's also the link is also public as well in the community section. So if you want to come on, have your say about what happened today, do click the link and you'll join the show. But without further ado, who else to start the show with? The main event. It's all you've been waiting for. Let's bring him on, Mr. Brian Daigle. Brian, lovely to see you as always,
How
mate.
are we doing? I hope you're good, Sim. I hope you're good, Ariane. Amir, I can see Ariane in the bottom. And how is everyone in the chat?
Just about survived that 90 minutes, I feel. I think my heart was definitely taking a bit of a pounding during that game. But Brian, how do you digest that game? Do you come away with it, just with pure elation with the win, or is it still worrying for you how poor we were for large parts?
First of all, pure elation, because we just got the job done. I'm going to take one for the team. Obviously, Sim, I was with you 2 years ago for Forest, went out the first round.
Yeah.
With you a year ago, went to Fulham, out the first round. I stayed as far as a different country to quite guarantee that Spurs would get through to the next round. But it definitely are more questions than answers have come out of tonight, and someone needs to call the police, because Spurs have got away with absolute murder.
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, in terms of the overall performance, let's talk about how bad we were, I guess, for the first 88 minutes. What do you put that down to? Why it was just so abject?
There's so many. I mean, soon I thought there might be 3 or 4 changes, 5 at max. There were so many changes, weren't there? How can we build any
8 changes?
Up? How can we build consistency up when we just keep chopping and changing like that? I get Ange was in a no-win situation if we'd lost. If we'd lost and he made huge changes, it would have been why he made changes. And if he played a full-strength team, it would have been why didn't he try some of the other players? But I don't understand how we have gone from this time last year of playing the most stunning, breathtaking, free-flowing, attacking football to horseshoe football and not even taking a shot. If that first half performance had been under Nuno, the whole fan base collectively would have gone out. I mean, don't get me wrong, it did go berserk at half time, but the meltdown would have been a million times worse. That first half was totally unacceptable. And saying that we're much more physically fit and ready for the season ahead than last year. Well, that's not been proved right, has it? There were so many woeful performances, and I actually said to myself at the start of the second half, just before we went 1-0 down, for the first time in Ange Postecoglou's tenure, I don't know if the players understand what he's asking to do, or they're just not doing it. It was the first time I was heavily conflicted with what was going on, but we dug ourselves out of it, didn't we?
Yeah, just about, Daegu. I think, you know, if we didn't have that quality to call on, the Kulus, the Madders, the Sonnies to come off the bench there, I don't think we're even scoring in that game, to be honest, Daegu. And that, for me, is the biggest worry. You know, we're supposed to be developing this system, this attacking Ange ball, if you like, system, way of playing. Yet, in that first half, I didn't see any Ange ball. I didn't see any creation of any chances. I didn't even see us take a shot. So for me, there's really, really worrying signs, even though we did, you know, get over the line and get into the next round. What kind of changes would you like to see going forward in this League Cup, say fourth round? Doesn't matter who we get, regardless of who we get, how would you line up for that next round?
Amir, honestly, brother, I actually think Ange, after this game, has to have a look at himself, take some responsibility, and say, I've tried to play the same formation again, which, to his credit, he said he was going to do it, but realise it's not working in the Premier League. It almost cost him dearly in the first cup competition that we could have gone in, and he's got to think, maybe I've got to change something. Whether he does or whether he doesn't is another thing, but you can't come away from this. I mean, I had a very good friend of mine, Craig O'Sullivan, reach out to me when we were 1-0 down and said, you do realise if this ends up as a defeat, Ange would have played 4 cup games and we would have lost 3 of them. And you look at it, they're a worrying sight. Like I said, I'm still defending my manager. I just think at the moment he is treading water with the way things are going, and there's got to be some form of change, because I honestly don't think the players want to play the way he's playing, or they don't understand it. But one thing I will quickly say, I've come on here before and on many shows and defended Brennan Johnson, criticised him when criticism has been deserved, but do you know what? Fair goddamn play to him. When that ball came through to him, the pressure and adrenaline and nerves he probably was under, thinking if I miss this, the abuse I'm going to get personally, not about his football, is going to be horrific. But he took his moment, he put it away, and thanks to him, we're into the next round. So Brennan Johnson, love him, hate him, think he's crap, think he's going to turn good. He deserves a lot of credit tonight for putting that finish away.
It was first start today in a competitive game for the likes of Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray. How did you feel like they got on tonight?
I think Bergvall did well. Put it this way, I think Bergvall done a lot better than Gray. I thought this might have been the moment for Gray to come out and show what he's capable of, especially against a fellow championship team, which he would have been used to. And it wasn't the performance I thought we'd get from him. But I have to say, during that first half, the nerves, the lack of cohesion, the style of football, I think that would have been a huge part of it. But I think Bergvall definitely outshone Archie Gray. But the one that's really concerning me now is Pape Matar. He looked like, I mean, forget Werner. Werner was just shambolic. But Pape Matar, who obviously started last season on fire, looks like a lost child. And it's worrying, especially with Bentancur's obviously inevitable upcoming ban. Because I think he's got till, if I'm right, Sim, he's got up until tomorrow to appeal it, hasn't he? I don't think he will do. So his ban will start as of what you would say, Brentford. But Pape Matar looked Really lost. And fair play to Jed Spence as well. Fair play to Jed Spence, who, when I saw the lineup and he wasn't in, I thought, man, this guy has been royally screwed. At Europa, impressed in pre-season, now can't even get into this team. But he did himself the world of good, and hopefully gives. I think he's putting Destiny under pressure. I really do. And fair play to him for putting on that performance and taking the goal the way he did.
Yeah, it was a good finish. It was a very good finish by Jed.
And Solanke now, 3 games, 3 starts in the Spurs shirt, hasn't got his first goal. Was really, I would say, anonymous tonight compared to maybe some of the other previous games. Is how much of a concern is that?
Again, Simeon, I think this goes back to I don't think they understand what Ange is trying to do, or they're not taking on board, because I did see him regularly in the box. We couldn't get crosses into him. The delivery, I mean, I think it shows just how badly we actually need to go get a winger, wasn't it? Odebear's gone off with an unfortunate injury. We'll find out more later. But we can't get crosses in. And what is the point of having a big target man and then not giving him the service he needs? But he could have done better, could have done more. But he's got to get firing soon, hasn't he? I mean, we've got 2 strikers, one that's always injured and could score when he's playing, but he's always injured. And one that never gets injured, but got injured and has come back and is getting himself familiar with the team, but we're not giving him the service. The life of a Spurs fan, people. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And where would we be right now if it wasn't for Decky? Because I thought he really came on and changed the game in our favour. If it wasn't for him, and we probably got, it was, I don't know if it was more luck than judgment, because he only came on because Werner got injured. But, he's been our best player by far this season, hasn't he?
I think it's between him and Porro, in all honesty. And I was happy to see him rested, because I keep getting concerned when he's going down with these knocks he's getting in the Premier League. But he certainly made a difference. He certainly came on and had a big impact. And Simon, at the moment in our debate, you're night and day ahead of me, buddy. He is proving me wrong. And I've said it before. I think down the centre, he's a completely different player. Completely different player. And he showed again that he can be a very useful player. And he's proving that he deserves to be in that starting 11, doesn't he?
Well, to me, Daigle, he's almost the ultimate utility player, because you can play him in the middle, you can play him out on the wing, and you can play him as a false 9 if need be. So he can kind of play anywhere in that front 4 or 5, which to me, is a huge, huge advantage. And we saw as soon as he came on that little bit of ingenuity, that little bit of creativity to set Jed Spence through for the goal. And also you're looking at his hold-up play as well. I thought he did really well coming on. I'm just hoping, though, what you were relaying about Solanke and the rest of our front line there, that they do manage to find that cohesion, and we do start to score goals, and those players start getting on the score sheet, because I think things will look a lot different when you see players like Solanke or Richarlison's have a bit of confidence, have a few goals behind them. Because for me, that's what these guys are lacking. I mean, Solanke in the derby, had a few chances to shoot. He didn't shoot. Tonight, I can't really blame him too much, because there was just no service, literally nothing for him to feed off in the first half. And, the way we play, we should be creating chances in abundance, really, in the front 3. So we'll see how we get on against Brentford. But in terms of, success this season, you've heard our manager Ange talk about winning trophies. Do you feel like this League Cup is one that we should be focusing on?
I've said it before. I said it last season. I think we need to be in the Europa League rather than the Champions League. I think if we are going to win any more, the biggest chance of success is taking these cups seriously and showing the respect that they deserve. Let's be serious. There is anyone that believes or thinks we're getting top 4, you're entitled to your opinion, but this is showing we're miles off. We are absolutely miles off. The clearest road to glory and silverware is these cups. At one point, it looked like we would have been 1 cup down, but thankfully we're not. he has to take these cups seriously. And obviously now you look at it, Amir, we have people like Pochettino and other managers that rested loads of people for the Europa, and then they were ready for the Premier League. I kind of think he's got to do it the other way around. I really do. I think, yes, he's got to obviously try and finish as high as he can in the Premier League, but getting through to the next round of the Europa and giving that a serious crack, I think holds a lot more chances of us getting Champions League football than top four. And game management's going to be a huge thing, and we're going to have to find out what Odebear's injury is. Werner's injury, but Werner should be nowhere near that first team. Mikey Moore should be on that bench ahead of him. He was just awful today. And we go from there. But like you said, I mean, just to touch back on what you said about the forwards, they've got to click. They've got to click because we are getting through. We got through this game by the skin of our teeth. We are toothless against the scum, against the filth. We are toothless against Newcastle, even though we created. Obviously, we ran riot against Everton, but let's face it, anyone can run riot on Everton right now. And we are toothless against Leicester. So that front line has got to click, and it has got to click quick.
Well, if Odebear and Werner's injuries are significant, it first of all puts us in a problem because it means Johnson's obviously not going to have anyone to really change with on that right-hand side. And also it takes away, in terms of Odebear, one of our signings who could have potentially switch things up in that front line. But what it potentially could do is it could open the door for Mikey Moore to start getting some more minutes. He was on the bench tonight. Didn't come on off the bench. But if Werner's injury and Odebear's injury is significant, then doesn't that give Moore some more opportunities? Probably.
You would hope so. You really would hope so, wouldn't you, Simeon? I mean, we saw him on the bench tonight, and that was a start. And I thought he might have. I can't remember. He didn't even come on, did he? From what I remember.
No, not tonight. No.
Exactly. So. I honestly, I've got more faith in Mikey than I do Werner. If Odebear is out, obviously Mikey Moore has to come in. I hope it gives Mikey Moore the minutes because we can't keep holding it off. We have a real talent now. I'm not saying he should start, but we saw in pre-season, and yes, it's pre-season, the impact he can have. And I think like Man City have done with Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, Newcastle did with, is it Miley or whatever the Man U did with the youngsters, we've got to have a spark from somewhere. Maybe Mikey can give us that spark as an impact sub or whatever it may be, because we do look absolutely toothless and devoid of ideas at the moment.
And was asked about the game in his press conference today, and he was asked why the performance was flat, and he says, "I don't know. The flat performance is a bit harsh. I thought it was a typical cup game. You sense that in the last 10 minutes we got real belief out there, and hopefully that's a good sign moving forward." He's saying that calling it a flat performance was harsh. I would say it's probably too kind. What do you think?
Oh, exactly. I was about to say that would be absolutely flattering. Saying it would be flattering to say it was flat. It was awful by a country mile. The worst performance under Ange. By a country mile. I love his positivity in certain things, but I think he's got to stop and think what he's saying in some things, because you can't say that. The piranhas and the sharks are circling for him within this fan base already, and saying things like that doesn't do him any good. Listen, I agree with what he said when he said I win things in my second year. You're stating facts. Not saying that he will win anything, but yeah, I think he's got to be careful what he's saying, because it just seems to be it seems to be getting him into more trouble within this fan base than good, and the ammunition is being loaded, and he's just putting extra bullets in the chamber.
Andrew Dean has just sent a super chat saying, "Shout out to Daigle. This game proves we are bang in the middle of a rebuild. We do not have the squad depth to compete in all competitions. Levy to make top four priority as usual. Good luck on our cups."
Yeah, I mean, Sim, I'll just say one thing to that as well, and I want to know what you guys think. A very good friend of mine from Seattle, who was part of Seattle Spurs, called John. He said this term to me, and it just won't go out my head that they use in North American sports, which is you're either rebuilding or reloading. And what he means by that is you're either constantly starting from scratch and going again with a different way, or you're rebuilding or reloading, which means, like, take for example with Liverpool when they had Sane, Firmino, and Salah, they reloaded with a Jota, they reloaded with a Diaz, and they kept just bringing in more. We seem to constantly be rebuilding and never reloading. We let a player go, we refill it. There's never that quality.
We do the opposite, Daigle. We do the opposite of reloading. We download, we degrade our, you know, if you look at Kane, having Kane up top, and now we've gone to having players not of his ilk in that level. You know, we went from having Bale, and what did we do? We spent all his money on half of them that didn't even turn out to be anything.
I say we're always rebuilding, mate, never reloading. And
Very
that terminology is literally something I'm living by now. I think it's spot on. And John from Seattle Spurs was bang on the money with that terminology. I don't know what people in the chat think, or North Americans that have heard that term. I think we're constantly rebuilding rather than reloading, and it's showing.
So moving on to Saturday against Brentford. We're on the Premier League. We're on the run of 2 losses on the trot now. After today's performance, albeit we are in the hat for the 4th round, albeit there's still a lot of people unhappy with how we played. How big is Saturday for Ange, do you think?
Mate, listen, not just for Ange, for this football club, for the sanity of the fans, for just everything. I think this football club right now, every single game is pressure building. Obviously, the atmosphere in the away end at half-time was not the best. Obviously, listen, people, the away fans, as you know, Sim, as you know, Amir, this is a Wednesday night. They've travelled after work to go to the game. They put in the miles. They pay the money. They give the most incredible support, as always, as vocal as whatever. They were unhappy, and for obvious reasons, as we all were, wherever you're watching it. If we don't get off to a fast start and grab the ball by the horns against Brentford, you know what that stadium's going to be like. We just need to put in a performance like Everton and just build on that and just say, right, Coventry was the starting block. Let's fucking go.
All right, Brian, look, always good to chat to you. Let's hope we can start turning these performances around. But always great to chat to you, my friend, and we'll see you very soon.
Always a pleasure. Have a great evening, guys. Ta-da.
Take care, Daigle. See you later.
Nico Super Chat says, Ange won't change. It's wishful thinking to suggest it. Commit or give up. Better to give up after 1.5 years and start a rebuild again. I wouldn't say that's true. I wouldn't start giving up now. Because then you're just back to square one. It doesn't make any sense. Postecoglou was asked about why he took off Lucas Bergvall in the game today. He says, I don't make substitutions by poll, mate. So I'm sure the fans have got their own opinions, but Lucas, like I said, that's his first sort of significant game time for quite a while. What I didn't want was us pushing guys over the edge today. That's why we took Destiny off at half time as well. We already had a couple of injuries, and I had some pretty good players on the bench, and I thought could make an impact, but it doesn't take away from Lucas's performance. I thought he was outstanding tonight. They're going to play a lot of football for us, and hopefully getting through tonight, whether it's 90 minutes or for Archie, or 60 or 70 for Lucas, will put them in a good space. What do you think of that answer? About you said Lucas was outstanding, but he didn't want to.
Look, it's fair enough if you're trying to look after the players in that sense, that you're trying to keep him fresh for future games. That's fine. I can understand the thinking behind it. For me, it wasn't about those decisions. It's why he didn't make a decision at half time to actually make a tactical change or do something differently. Because for me, that was the worst first half of football I've seen Tottenham play in a very, very long time, probably since Nuno. I would say.
And what do you think? He was asked about why the performance was flat, and he said, I think a flat performance is a bit harsh.
Look, Ange, what are you trying to cover up for? Because if that wasn't a flat performance, I don't know what is a flat performance, to be honest. And I do think that's being kind. I think it was worse than that, to be honest. Worse than being flat. I think it was lackadaisical. It was clumsy, and we were very wasteful in possession. In all the possession that we had, we just gave the ball away time and time again in that final third. Did nothing with it.
He was asked about, can you talk us through the strategy of making 8 changes? Because instantly fans are going to be wondering about that with the cup run on the line. He says, I know, but what I've always tried to do is what I think is right, the best thing for us in terms of what we're trying to achieve. And, there's no guarantee with anything you do in football, but what I've always done is back my decisions in critical times to always do what I feel is best. And if it doesn't work out, I can live with that. But I'm certainly not going to jeopardize what we're trying to build here by doing something that's going to make me look like I'm in a safe position. So we're always going to play these guys because we've got European football start next week. The last thing I want to do is throw guys in out of necessity. We need to get game time, and tonight some key players for us got some good minutes, and that means when we do make changes moving forward, they're already played and they're ready to go. So that was his reasoning for making 8 changes. I mean, there's some logic to that, isn't there?
There is some logic to it, and I guess it's somehow worked for him, because at the end of the day we have gotten through and we're in the next round. However, if that had gone wrong and we didn't go through and we didn't get the equaliser there, he's saying a completely different tune, and the pressure on his job is just growing and growing and growing if we don't get through Coventry tonight. So yeah, I can understand why you want to go with youth and why you want to give some experience to the likes of Bergvall and Gray, but you can do that with making just 4 changes or 3 changes or even 5 changes. But to go with 8, I think it's part of the reason we saw such a disjointed performance. And I do think that in that 4th round we might see a lot less changes, maybe 3 or 4 max.
He was also asked about Destiny. He said, is Destiny okay? He said, yeah, it was always the plan to play him for 45 tonight.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
He missed a lot of pre-season, so it was a balancing act to give him and get us some game time because he's not 100% fit. Tonight, it was always the plan to play him 45 and Jed 45. Yeah, that's why I felt when I saw that. All right, let's get some more fans on. Let's get Christian Kemp on to have his say. Christian, thanks for joining the show. How are you doing? I think oh no, it was on our end. Yeah, I can hear you. It's all good. Our pleasure. We got away with one tonight, didn't we? What was your initial thoughts on the game?
Okay, so I have 4 things. First, I loved what was said. I'm from America, so I've heard that phrase. You're either reloading or either rebuilding or reloading, and I love that. And frankly, I think it's a mindset. I have 4 things really that really stood out, and I wrote them down here on my notes. First off, we are still too afraid to take that shot. It's like they're waiting for the perfect perfect pass to come in, the perfect cross to come in to take the shot. It don't have to look pretty as long as it goes in the net. I still think they're nervous that they're trying to get that extra pass in. They're trying to make it the perfect dink to go in, and sometimes you just got to pull it down and pull the trigger. And frankly, I thought Solanke was going to start doing that, and he's kind of let me down with that. With just it's not always going to be perfect. You got to take the shot. Second thing. I have a lot of respect for Foster for what he did 2 years ago whenever Hugo got hurt and he came in and kind of filled in and did a pretty good job. But his awareness was an issue tonight. Where he's got to, God bless him, but he's got to have more awareness to that. And I don't know if that comes with more game time, but if he has another game like that, I'm not sure if I'm, looking to maybe find someone else because his awareness was an issue. And the last thing kind of ties together. It's 2 points that kind of come together, and it's this. I get tactics are a huge deal. I mean, and a W is a W. I'll give props where props is deserved. But the thing that frustrated me tonight, yeah, the tactics weren't, amazing, but hustle and desire. That's the two words. Hustle and desire. I didn't see a lot of hustle and desire from players that really needed to show a little hustle and desire. Sar, man, I was so psyched on Sar. I thought that he was so athletic. I thought if he could get going, man, he could really be a future. But tonight, he just looked lost. And I understand looking lost, but like you got to hustle.
Oh.
To go and get the ball and make plays, and didn't see that. Didn't see that a lot from Solanke. I mean, and again, I got to give him a little pass because he's, because he wouldn't really serve very well, but we need to see a little bit of desire, a little bit of fire, a little bit of hustle to go and like take the game by the scruff of the neck and score a goal and make a play. Haven't seen that from Solanke. And I'll be honest, and I have a hard time saying this because I love this player so much. Son, like I love his positivity. I think he's great for this club. And I think whenever he is on, he is one of the best. But as the captain, that desire, that hustle, that that desire to go and make a play needs to start with him. And I just haven't seen it. It's like he just kind of disappears. And I get you can't be everywhere at once, but I love Sonny. But it's got to start with him. And as a captain, maybe that comes out in practice. Maybe that comes out with in training with being vocal, but frankly maybe it just starts with him on the field, on the pitch, making the right moves. But anyway, those are my four things. Hustle and desire. That's the big thing. I didn't see a lot of hustle and desire.
Ange defended his decision to make 8 changes tonight, saying we have basically saying, we have a squad and we've got a lot of games coming up, and I need these players to be ready to step into these games, and I don't want to be throwing players into these games just out of necessity. I want to be using these players when they're ready to go, and to do that, they're going to need minutes. But on the flip side, there was a cup run on the line tonight, and we were a couple minutes away from going out, and we definitely did have a lack of fluidity today due to probably the lot of changes. So what did you think of Ange's defense for the changes that he made?
Well, I get it. It's a cup. Just kind of like what was said before. I think you can make changes. I think 8 is a little much. Let's try 2 or 3 maybe, changes in there, because at some point you got to find your squad and you got to have some teamwork, and I know that takes game time, and you can train all you want, but there's nothing like getting some playing time in the games. So it's a thing where like a W is a W, so you got to give him credit. It worked. He was able to yeah, it was ugly, but sometimes in cups you got to find ways to win ugly. And I wish that maybe not quite as few few changes. 8 is a lot, and maybe in the next round he'll reassess and start to get out there. Who I really wish I would have seen out there, Mikey Moore. I wish, I was a little surprised that he didn't get some PT, because if we're trying to see who we got, like, golly, let's put Mikey out there and see what he can do, because he looked good in the preseason. But anyway, that's how I guess defend it was, maybe next time not quite as many changes, maybe like 2 or 3, and then I getting the goalkeeper out, but we talked about Foster.
And tell me something, Christian. I want to know from your side of things, from your American perspective, when you talk about hustle and desire, because I love those two words. What are you looking to see from our players? What do you want to see in the game?
Well,
With regards to those
I'm
two
talking
aspects?
about taking players on, not being afraid to take players on,
Good.
and really just pulling down and pulling the trigger
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I know we didn't get it into the box quite as well tonight, but like you look at like even the derby, here this last Sunday, like we had some chances where you got to pull the trigger, and we just didn't. And I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if they're being coached that way to say like, hey, no, get that extra pass and get that in. But just really just hustle and the desire to win the game. I'll tell you, it's kind of one of those things where like I'll see I'll see it and I'll think, oh man, that player didn't hustle very well. But then I'll see it and I'll like look at like Kulusevski. When Kulusevski came in tonight, like he had desire to win the game. He had the desire to hustle and do whatever it took to get the ball and get it into position to make the play. And
Definitely.
you look what happened with Spence. Spence, he came up there and he had hustle and desire to be in the spot and make the run, and make the play. And you look at those two guys that come on, hustle and desire to score the goal and win the game. And then you got to give props to Johnson. It's good to see him get that
Yep.
he had some nerves there at the end to put it away, and props to him, and all credit to him for doing that. But that's how I would say hustle and desire. That's what it looks like. It's running hard, getting in position, and not being afraid to take people on and pull the trigger and take a shot.
Christian, great to have you on, mate. Thanks for calling in, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Take care,
Thank
buddy.
you, guys.
Take
Cheers,
care, Christian. I like that,
Hustle
a lot.
and desire.
I love that. I love that, Sim, because I think that's what we were lacking that whole first half and the first 80 odd minutes until those guys came on. And even if I was thinking about the way we were moving the ball around in that first half, there was no hustle there. It was like we've got all
There's
the
no
time.
intent, yeah,
There's
no
no
intent.
intent. Oh, let's have another touch. Let's move it back and sideways. I like what Christian's saying. Hustle and desire. That's what we need more of, Spurs. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Okay, who are we getting on next? Are we getting? All right, well, wouldn't be surprised after. All right, let's get Jory on next then. The Jorical. Let's get them. I'm sure he's got a lot to say. Jory, lovely to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I'm sure after that first 88 minutes, there was probably many bottles, let alone glasses of wine, being being consumed after that.
It's a school night, Sim, so I'm leaving
No
those
wine on a
in.
school night. Okay.
Yeah,
But Jory, obviously you've been questioning Ange a lot recently. Tonight, for you, was there more questions than answers after that performance, after that result, even?
Yeah, well, actually, the way it goes, Sim, is like I started questioning Ange like January or something, like the kind of tactical, systemic type things I thought I was seeing. And then at the start of this season, and maybe also a little bit preseason, I saw something that I thought was Ange tweaking. And I actually still do think it was Ange tweaking. And I do see what he's trying to do, and I do see what it's gonna be once it clicks. But the thing is, I don't think he'll run out of time before it clicks. To be honest, and the truth is, like especially tonight was so awful. I think for me, this is the worst football I've seen Tottenham play since I got back to kind of following Tottenham closely. I'll give the caveat that the last games before Conte and Mourinho and stuff like that might be in a similar, but there it's so obvious that the players are kind of throwing the manager under the bus that I don't really count them. But this for me was so clearly 11 guys not understanding the instructions, tactics that everybody knows about, and it's very easy to kind of counteract. And yeah, it's really concerning, because the thing about also what Ants is trying to do is like, for that to work, you need to have some movement in the opposition defense. If they just sit like a handball team, it's not going to work. You can't, none of this running in behind and cutbacks and stuff like, even though we're doing it, but we're doing it in so tight spaces that now you need a Harry Kane to be a regular finisher on the ball, and I think, to be honest, I think the players understand this once again, and are really not. I'm pretty sure that some players are actually kind of over this already. It's not dramatic at this point, but if we're playing like we've been playing, we're losing against Brentford. That's for sure. So it's very worrying, and I've been in, even though I've been critical of all this stuff. But now I'm not backing him, and I'm not backing. Oh, I'm not against him, but I do see now we're into a window where I think it can be quite detrimental to what I think is actually a pretty good future squad. I don't think like Brennan Johnson is a much better player than we're seeing. Solanke is much better than we've seen so far. Even Timo Werner is better than we're seeing. I mean, I'm not saying they're good enough. They are much better than what we're seeing. Sonny, for God's sake, is world class. How long is it since we've seen Sonny do anything world class?
So do you think that, Jory, just to stop you there, do you think the system is making them worse players then? What
Absolutely, it's all wrong. Sonny is on the being played like a wide winger instead of like a Sonny winger. Sonny is the prototype. You don't change him into something else. He is the model that everybody else should be modeling on. Just like you wouldn't change a Kane as a striker. Kane is that striker. He's not going to become now a Vlahovic striker or whatever. He's his own prototype, and this is definitely what I'm seeing. Is like it's completely broken from the standpoint of both utilizing the players, but also even if you have robots doing what Ans is asking them to do, for that to work, you need some space. You need the opposition defense to be tracking back. But we're transitioning so slow with so many passes now.
So slow, yeah.
Yeah, that they're all in, and even and of course they also set up where they don't risk it. They don't go that high anyway. So once we're ready to do something in their end, it's locked up shop. So I really, really like I said, because the start of this season, I thought I was seeing Ants tweak, and I'm pretty sure he has been tweaking tactically, but he is also showing me now that he really doesn't get it when it comes to what the players he has, to be honest, because I don't, for example, understand why you would have a guy that's an XG outperformer, the number one outperformer of his XG in Europe many years in a row. Now you want to get him out of the zone where he's scoring from. Like, what kind of sense does that make? And we have the most possession that we maybe have ever had, but we can't get to an XG of 1 in games. It's like it's broken systematically. You know, whether it's whether it's a question of the guys not getting it and they're still on board and eventually they'll get it. Let's hope that if we're going to continue with the ants, let's hope that. I don't want to change managers. It's pointless with this board. I've said it many times, and I've also always pick up the ants for the recruitment around them. And so that being said, when you then see Archie Gray and other of these young players not at all perform, whilst they were performing when we got them, maybe there's something very, very unnatural for them in their instructions, you know, and this is definitely also a part of it, I think. So, but I also, unfortunately, kind of think and feel that that maybe some of the more senior players are showing that they don't quite believe in it now, and the pressure is huge.
Who do you think? Who do you think specifically is
I
showing
mean, it's. I mean, I think Cootie is had it. I mean, I think Cootie is on his way out. I think we all know that. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure it's probably more annoyance with Levy than Ants. But also, well, maybe like if you were one of the best centre backs in the world, would you be happy if you were the most conceded team in the Premier League at the same time?
Yeah, it wouldn't make you
It's
happy.
not a good
That's
look
for
for
sure.
Cootie,
No,
you know.
it's not
Yeah.
a good look for. It's not a good look for us either, Jory. I
No.
mean, I part of my problem with this system is that one ball over the top and the other
Yeah.
team are in, and
Exactly.
you know, if you have a little bit more quality than Coventry did today, you're beating us 3-4.
Yeah, absolutely. If this had been a
City.
mid-table Premier League team, we would have lost 3 or 4 today.
Easy,
You know, so,
easy.
and I mean, we completely robbed them. You know, and I don't
How
want to
about-
take anything. I don't want to take anything away from the guys that came on. They are, of course, on a level that's way beyond what Coventry have, you know, and they did their job there, and thank you. By the way, the guy that for me was the man of the match is Spence, and that's the guy that Hans has basically
Has he
is
left
putting
them out
it
of Europe?
in
for the key?
4
has
keepers.
frozen out of the squad so far, you know.
Yeah, let me
So
ask you about that actually, Jory, because actually tonight it's quite poignant, that specific point, because tonight Spence comes off the bench and, you know, has a really good second half and scores the goal. And he's been left out
he
the
was very
European
good
squad.
defensively as well. Yeah.
He was very good. And
Yeah.
he's been left out the European squad for the keeper who started tonight. And he, for me, was all over the place, I felt. Fraser Forster, but I know he made a few good saves. I'm not don't want to take that away from him, but I counted. I was watching him quite closely, and I counted. I think he spilled the ball 4 times. He gave the ball straight to the Coventry attacker in the first minute, and they should have scored. And he as well gave them an open goal because he charged out of his area really unnecessarily when Dragoshin, I think, had that under control. He charged out and then gave them an open goal. And now, and that's putting that into perspective, you know, that's got to be questioned, that decision to put Spence, especially after tonight's showing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm saying, like, because you know what Spence, you know, we've heard about his attitude problems and stuff like that, you know, but and the same with us going for Solanke, not Ivan Toney and stuff, which I'm happy about all of that, you know, but if you then end up with nobody that's got an edge to them, then you have maybe a little bit too much softness in your team, you know, and I think. Yeah, I think like a manager like Conte could manage Spence with the whip, and I think Mourinho could easily manage him with charm and the whip. You know, so I think I think this is definitely something culturally we either get completely wrong on Dombele or whatever, or we have too little of it in our club. You know, but also for me, it also tells me that Ants both is threatened by maybe Levy's Levy's active part in that Spence deal, but also maybe Spence as a personality in the squad, because what I see, I mean, I can see there's maybe a little bit of a ego there and whatever, but you need that in players. I don't see anything that's absolutely detrimental to the squad. I don't see anything that shouldn't be fairly easy to handle, at least not at this point.
He hasn't been going off doing laughing gas, has he, or things that we
No,
don't
exactly.
know of?
Well,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and the way Ans, by the way, which I absolutely hate seeing Ans in media. I can't stand the guy, to be honest. Like all he does is gaslight journalists in the most bullying and rude manner. And I don't mind when like I loved when Conte got heated, and the same with Mourinho, blasting his ego, but I really can't stand when people bully, like really impose their physical size and form and bully reporters like Ans is constantly doing. And he's doing it in a gaslighting manner. Now the latest, which doesn't help us, by the way, as fans, is when he's talking about he always wins something in the second season. That was not like he used the original I usually win in the second season to shut down good and actually thoughtful questions and shut down the journalists. That's bullying. That's you being scared. That's you not being able to handle the heat. And then he doubled down and shut the lady that had a very normal question, actually not that hard, not that critical a question, even doubled down on it and was even more bullying towards her, and to shut down the conversation. For me, that's much like nothing like Conte or like they were classy. For me, this is very unclassy behavior and tells me a lot about the personality there.
I tell you what's a bit of a worry for me. He's come out and he said after this game that he doesn't think it was a flat performance in that first half.
That's also like.
Are you taking us for fools? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Is this the brutal, honest Ans that he pretends to be? Who is saying that? If we have the choice now, either this guy is gaslighting us, or he is actually not. He's in over its head. Clearly, if he thinks this is an all right performance, not flat. Flat it would be the kindest description I could think of, So
yeah, that'd be being kind, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely like we were watching absolute fundamentals of football going wrong again and again and again.
Yep.
So and for me, that goes into this is systemic. These players, they don't have the instruction. They don't get what this is about, and when they get it, they just run on this wall, which is the handball defense that everybody knows to have in place when we're playing, So I'm sorry to be so negative, guys, but what I would say once again, Ans has put the right pressure on the board, which I think is important. And also the recruitment has been good for going forward. We have in my view, a quite good young squad. I'm very these players are nowhere near what they should be playing. They should be playing much better football than they're playing.
Yeah.
So what's left to talk about? It must be on Ans, right? I mean, unless you think it's the players, of course, which I don't think. Yeah.
All right. Well, Jory, appreciate you calling in as always, mate. Nice to see
Yeah.
you. And
right.
let's hope we win on Saturday.
Come on.
That's for sure. Lovely to see you, Jory.
Yeah, I would definitely hope so if I was Ans. That's for sure. So, take care, guys.
Sleep well.
Take care,
Nice to see
Jory.
you.
All the best.
Joseph Vukovic says, we're cooked this season. We're closer to the Championship versus Champions League. Wissa and Mbuemo are going to have a field day.
Wissa's injured.
Wissa's
so,
injured, so he's not going to have a field day.
yeah.
But are we closer to the Championship than Champions League?
I think that's a bit harsh, but I get where people are coming from after seeing that display today. Because honestly, it was diabolical. We pulled off one of the craziest robberies I've ever seen.
It was
to
madness.
be honest, I still can't believe we're through. To be honest, and,
Yeah.
like
I'm still in shock.
wild.
Let's get Rocco on. He's called in to have his say.
Just give me 2 secs.
It's all right. Rocco, thanks for calling in, mate. Thanks for joining the show. You know, a lot of negativity spreading around in terms of the performance tonight. What were your initial thoughts about our smash and grab?
I thought we did well in the last 10 minutes. Also, when we brought on Kulu and Son, I think Son didn't do very much, but he was still part of that last 10 minutes. But Kulusevski's class, and he needs to start against Brentford. Otherwise, I think we lose. Either on the midfield or on that wing, because he's just a game changer. And we would have lost without him. I think Spence as well, it's a disgrace that he was left out of the Europe squad, because he was one of the best players on that pitch today.
Yeah, absolutely. Though we saw some debuts today, Archie Gray and Bergvall making their not debuts, but first start for Spurs. Gray getting 90 minutes, Bergvall off on, I think it was 70. How do you think they got on in their first starts?
Yeah, I think Gray, for playing out of position, played really well. He stopped. He tackled well and defended well and got up the field. I don't think he played badly, but I don't think it was a great performance. But he was playing out of position, so there's not much you could expect. I was surprised that Bergvall went off because I thought he was one of the only players that were holding us up in that time. He was making good runs forward and trying to get balls in, but it just didn't happen for us. And I think they did really, really well for their first start.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of them, and obviously I think the more minutes they get, I think the more they bed in, I think the better they'll get as well. In terms of some concerning performances, obviously Solanke, now that's his third start, hasn't got his first goal yet after that big move in the summer. How concerned at the moment are you with that lack of goals after 3 games, or do you still think it's just a patience thing? You just got to give him time.
I think it's a mix of a patience thing and he needs to score, because we've seen this before with multiple different strikers. Because we've seen it. We've watched strikers come in and not score goals in their first few games, lose confidence, and then that's it. They're out of the door in a few summers. We've seen it with Richarlison. We've seen it now with Solanke. And I think he needs to get on the score sheet. And if he can, Ange needs to do something about it. I think there was a lot of better options this summer. I think Osimhen was on there, even though his wages would have been massive. It would have shown a lot of ambition by Levy if we went out and got him. I think Gyökeres, who scored in the Champions League, I think yesterday, they would have been good signings, and I think they would have been really, really, really good, and they would have come in and they would have scored a lot of goals. I don't think Solanke was the best choice, but I'll always back him. But he needs to score against Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, the longer that goal drought goes on, it's going to be worrying in terms of, go on.
No, I was just going to say, Sim, you need to create chances for Solanke to score. Today, in that first 60 minutes while he was on, we didn't create anything for him, not even one chance. So how can we expect him to score? He's not just going to create it out of thin air. Yeah,
and he's definitely one of those strikers I noticed when I was analysing his goals for Bournemouth yesterday. Very few were from him, getting the ball and doing something by himself. Yeah. All of them are from
crosses,
first time finishes. Even yesterday I saw Gyökeres take a touch, move inside his defender and hit it far post. Solanke, I mean, he might have it in him, but that's not what he's shown to do on a regular basis. So definitely the lack of supply to him is definitely an issue at the moment. But I think, given time, hopefully we can make that right. And he's going to take some time to get used to his players. But in terms of getting that supply to him, Werner and Odebear went off injured today. So I don't know how long they're going to be out for, but how concerning is that when people have already questioned the quality of our wingers, and looks like we might be losing two for a bit.
I don't know what blackmail Werner has over Ange, because why he didn't take him off at half time is beyond me. I was sitting watching the game with my brother, and I literally just started shouting when I saw him come out, because he was awful.
Terrible.
We had Son on there, and we had Mikey Moore, who we've seen play well against teams who are worse than Coventry. And why he didn't come on. If something that did annoy me, and I did pick up a lot, if we have such a good golden generation in young players, where are they all?
True.
Like,
very true.
with Mikey Moore, I know Lancashire's injured, but why did we send all these players out on loan? Because I guarantee you, if a team of young players had came out there today, other young players from like the under-23s, under-21s last season, they probably would have beaten Coventry a lot better than the team Ange put out today. I don't think they should have went out alone.
Interesting. In terms of Saturday, we're not at the moment. We're in a bit of a difficult spot when it comes to, level of performance. And today, a lot of people are still complaining about it. So, how much pressure is on Saturday or on Ange to, get a big performance out of this team on Saturday?
I think there's a massive, massive, massive pressure on Ange. He needs to win. I think he's the right manager for us, and I think that we will just become another Chelsea if we sacking a manager every 2 years. But there's still massive pressure on him by the fans, by Levy, by everyone. He needs to win on Saturday against Brentford. He needs to have a good win, not just a win, a good win.
But Brentford are the kind of team who are set up to frustrate us, aren't they?
Perfect.
They're that kind of team who are so clinical on the counter.
Yep.
They sit deep, good from set pieces as
Yep.
well. It's gonna if they're the kind of perfect team to undo us, aren't they?
No, 100%. From what I've seen of them this season, they are. And I think if Ange comes out and outclasses them with a tactical change, he needs to make a tactical change against them. And if he doesn't, then it just shows that he's too much stuck to his ways.
Rocco, that is exactly what I would love to see, and what I've been waiting to see for the last year and a half with Ange. A tactical change or a slight system tweak that will get us over the line in game, get us the 3 points. And for me, he has to start beating managers of Thomas Frank's ilk, of Eddie Howe's ilk, of the Artetas, of the Pep. When is he going to step up to a big side and get one over on one of these big managers? That's what I want to see. Couldn't put it better myself, Rocco. Thank you for that one.
In terms of the 8 players who came in today, do you think any of them earned a start on Saturday?
I think perhaps Bergvall and maybe even Archie Gray, especially if this Bentancur suspension comes in. I think Archie Gray could be a good option to bring in on the 6th. But and I think Bergvall as well, if he came on as a sub, and especially Spence. I know he came on later in the game, but I don't think the rest of them deserve it. I think Dragoshin did well, but Van de Ven and Romero are needed, especially against the counter-attacking team of Brentford.
Buemo's pace.
Yeah, it's frightening. Rocco, thanks for calling in, mate. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, Rocco, buddy. Nice speaking to you.
Cheers, Rocco. That was Rocco. Let's keep going with the fans then. And let's get Raj, who's in the background. Let's get him on. How you doing, Raj? Thanks for calling in.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, we're just trying to digest what happened tonight and
Yeah.
the performance or lack of performance. And was asked in his press conference why the performance was so flat, and he says calling the performance flat is a harsh description. He said, "What's your reaction to that?"
Well, it was poor. Up to 88 minutes, it was really poor. Coming off of the defeat against Arsenal and Newcastle, he makes 8 changes, and it's never really going to work. It was lackluster. There was no cohesion. It was just really poor, and not getting our big name players. Solanke again didn't do much, but it's just I don't know his tactics. What he's really trying to do.
Are you questioning his tactics then, Raj? Do you think these tactics are not something that can work in the long term?
Yeah, I don't think this possession based. I think we would be better off as a counter-attacking team. I believe that. I think when we play this possession based football, we get forward, but we don't really do much in the final third. Our attacking, we're not creating much. I don't think the Coventry goalkeeper had much to do. I don't think Raya had much to do at the weekend. The Newcastle game as well. It was an own goal, and we're struggling to make chances. We're struggling to get our final third game, the risk game, going. Over the weekend, I heard Glenn Hoddle say that this inverted fullback thing is we've been found out, and it's not working anymore.
Or didn't we get the equaliser today through the inverted fullbacks?
Yes, yeah, we did, but the chances we're creating is no way. We're not creating much.
Teams have figured us out, Raj, haven't they? Eddie Howe's beaten us. Arteta just sat back against us, and he'll
that's what they do. We just get picked off. We're getting picked off. Look at that Isak goal, Jacob. We had the ball. We were plugging. We were on top, and we just got sucked in against Newcastle, and they just went up and scored. And Arsenal, they were pragmatic against us, and we just lost our concentration. And today again, we're just not creating. To be honest, I think we would be better off as a counter-attacking team. I think Brennan is one player that. He takes a lot of criticism, but he's one player that gets himself into goal-scoring positions more than anyone. Ever since he made his debut against Arsenal, I remember he gets himself into good positions. He misses a few, but then he also gets into his goal. What he scored last season wasn't bad.
So, Raj, do you think the troubles we're having at the moment, do you not see that changing? Or do you not think, in time we can become a bit more fluid? Or do you think these problems are not going to go away?
Well, our big players, Maddison, Son, these boys, they've got to step up. In the big games, the Arsenals, the Newcastles. I mean, last season we lost 5 out of 7. Towards the end, and those were against the top teams, and it's just continued this season. So if you look at our record, it's like 5 last season, 2 this season, 7. We beat Burnley and Sheffield United last season, and we've just beaten Everton this season 3. So we've lost what? We've lost 7 out of our last 9, and the 7 have been against the top team. If you look at this, so it's not very good.
It's not good reading, is it? It's
It's
good
not.
reading at all.
Yeah, and let's see how it goes on Saturday. I'm going to the game, but I'm hoping.
Hope we have to get home and Raj.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Brentford won't be easy.
Yeah, it won't. But yeah. Well, it's they've got to start fast. They've got to get that goal. Otherwise, if it gets Brentford sit back and we just sideways and going back all the time, and
Stop.
it might get frustrating, you know.
Stop. It's that kind of football that makes me want to tear the hair off my head when I see it, Raj. It honestly frustrates me so much. And you know, when I used to play as a striker, Raj, and I would just shoot sometimes, even from 35 yards, I would shoot just to see if the keeper's even alert.
Why not?
Exactly.
The game against on the weekend, we took Kulu took a shot right in the 92nd minute.
Yep.
Right. And it's
score.
frustrating. Exactly. And players like Porro should shoot because he scores.
Exactly.
You know, it's been anyway. Well, yeah, it's let's see who he chooses. Another thing is, I don't think he knows what his best 11 is because it's always changing. I don't think he's sorted a midfield out. Apart from the first 10 games last season, after that in the midfield, he's never had continuity. He's always changing, whether it's down to injuries or whatever. Bentancur got injured a couple of times last season. Basuma got injured. Basuma after the Luton game last season got sent and was never the same. And he's just tinkering with it. He's not sorted out his number 6, not he's sorted out what is best. Combination is. It's always changing week to week. I don't think he knows what his best number 6 is. Is it Bentancur? Is it Basuma? Just changes. Today he played Sarr. You know, it's just. I mean, he lost against Arsenal. He just played Bentancur and with Kulu and Maddison. You know, so it's always. I bet you against Brentford it'll be totally different.
Well, it's going to have to be because Bentancur's banned, so
for
that game. So it probably will be different. But Raj, thanks for calling in, mate. Appreciate your time and nice to see you. And we'll see you soon.
Take care, Raj.
Yeah, bye.
Cheers,
All
Raj.
the best.
Charles Preston says, yes, we need to score early, then they open more space for our wingers. Hopefully we do that against Brentford.
But if we don't, our whole game, it goes out the window, Sim, you know, if we don't get this early goal. Against Everton, it worked and we kicked on and we finished them off. But what happens when we don't?
Well, probably what's happened in the last few games.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it,
But at least
honestly.
we did go behind today and we somehow found a way back.
And there's something to be said about the desire that Christian was talking about there. We showed the desire to get back in the game, and we did. We managed to somehow pull that robbery. But I want to see some of that hustle that he was talking about. To me, that is one of the most important things. You've got to hustle. You've got to move the ball quickly. When players when the defense is trying to move out, hustle. We saw Sonny get a goal like that from Pickford hustling. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the hustle, more of the desire. And I want Ange. I think what Raj was touching on there, he doesn't know his best first 11. I'll go even a bit more specific. I don't think he knows his best midfield. And I've been saying that since Goodison Park last season. I don't think he genuinely knows who, when everyone's fit, who are his midfield 3, and I think that's a problem.
Well, I think this season has thrown a different dynamic into it because Decky's now an 8. So I feel like he knows Madison. He wants Madison to be his 10, And I feel like last season he was flirting between
Sarr and-
Bentancur and Sarr in the 8, and he
Yeah.
wasn't sure which is the best fit. And I think he wanted Basuma to be a 6, I think, in general. So I think he that 8 position, he hasn't quite found the balance. But now Decky's there, and he's also, been amazing. I feel like now that's added a different dynamic. So with Basuma, Decky, and I think we only seen one game of Basuma, Decky, and Madders, and that's the Everton game, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to be the way going forward. We'll have to wait and see.
Be interesting.
Let's talk. Where's Philly Ali gone? Is he gone? Let's get Philly Ali on. How you doing, Philly? Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys. Sorry, I'm cooking dinner. Let me take a break. Nobody else was
What's on
cooking
the
today.
Very good. What's on the menu?
I'm making some Italian food. Some gnocchi straight from Little Italy. Yes, sir.
Ooh, some
That's not you saying you want Conte back, is
I'm
it?
getting hungry now.
Philly, tell me about today. Like, it was a struggle watching that game, wasn't it? Today we struggled for, pretty much large parts of it, and we ended up getting the job done. So, when you look back at today, is it more concerning how much we struggled, or do you give the team credit for getting over the line in the end?
Yeah, good question. I was watching the beginning of Chris Callan's show, and that's kind of how he started it. I guess there were boos at halftime from the away end, and then by the end of the game, we were singing "Tottenham's going to Wembley." So different. So of course, we want to be in the cup. We desperately want to be there, but it was a struggle. It was painful to watch. Guys, what has happened to our squad? We are nowhere as good. Like you mentioned Conte with me cooking up some delicious Italian food, but our squad is not nearly as good as it was back then. Am I going crazy? What happened to our squad?
Well, I think maybe you think of our squad back then, and also we had people like Emerson and Dyer and Sanchez. They were all playing at that point as well. So maybe we think about that point of rose-tinted glasses. But he made 8 changes tonight. He defended making those changes in his post-match press conference, saying, with these players who are coming in, they're going to need game time in their legs for when I use them down the line, and so they're ready to come in. But is it no surprise, considering all those changes, that it was disjointed? Or even with those changes, should we be putting in a better performance than that?
I don't know. I've been working on this season, changing my expectations, drastically changing my expectations. It was like 2 or 3 months into the summer window where every day I would be checking into the channel. All right, what's the exciting business we're getting into? Things have changed. We got a manager we all believe in. We got to be doing something big. And then it kind of dawned on me, no, I think it's going to be the Spurs of old. And I need to adjust my expectations. And it's really hard to do that when we're in the first round. We got a pretty good draw for the first round of a cup, and we can't string 2 passes together. It seems like it was a pickup game. Like all those players met each other for the first time today.
Yeah, but is that Philly Ali? Is that not on Ange, right? Because at the end of the day, if we only made 2 or 3 changes there, and your Madders is playing, and Kulu's playing, and Sonny is playing, and it's only maybe Bergvall and Gray that come in, right? Do we not go and win that game convincingly, or at least score the opening goal, and it's a completely different game?
No, I agree. I mean, he's just so stubborn. He's really not going to back down from this idea that these young prospects we brought in are the meaningful squad improvements that we all think we need. I mean, he's not wrong. They need playing time. They're not going to get any better. One of the expectations I do have for this year is if we're going to have this youth renaissance, we need to trust these young people in big moments. So I'm cool with that, but I would definitely have preferred us start strong and then bring in the young boys at halftime. But it was tough to watch.
Well, what did you make out of some of the youngsters have started. You know, Archie Gray and Bergvall getting their first starts for Spurs in a competitive game. Obviously, Odegaard started, but he went off injured early. But how do you think they fared in their first starts?
I think Archie struggled, but the way we play fullbacks, it's so demanding. He has to play every position on the pitch, like as a fullback. I think Bergvall looked great. He was the only one connecting anything from back to front. He was the only one who was able. It seems like he's taking some notes from Madison's book. He's doing those 180-degree turns and trying to switch play and just keep the defenders on their toes. But I wasn't too impressed with Gray. I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm glad he got him in the squad. I think that was the right place to play him because I just didn't want two prospects in the midfield. I thought that would have made us real. That's what I was worried he was going to do. I thought we would be too weak. So I'm glad that Sarr and Bentancur started, but I wasn't impressed with Sarr at all.
Yeah, is that concerning, Sarr? Because he's been about out of form for a while now, hasn't he? And he obviously started last season for the first half of last season. Even when, in games last season we didn't play well, he still, was fairly consistent. But I feel like since about April time, he's really dropped off quite a lot. I'm not sure what's happening with him. Are you concerned with his form?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's young, and he seems like the kind of player who plays at the level of the players around him. If you throw him in with our starting 11, he's good. He's got the legs, and he's kind of like dynamic enough. He can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, where he can fit in well. And today kind of showed if he's playing with, he's not going to be able to step up above the fray. And 100% of the credit today for this win, for salvaging this win, goes to the one man who was able to step up above the fray, and that's Kulusevski. He is a model of mentality that we need. I'm sitting at work, sneaking the game on my cell phone, about to lose my mind, and it's it's 70 minutes on the clock. It's not all is lost. And then Kulusevski comes in, and I just remember those interviews that he talks about kind of keeping the same mentality, never getting down, and just staying focused. And I could see that on his face. And he was all of a sudden creating opportunities where the whole game, I'm like, there's no way we're going to score. And then all of a sudden, a couple, 1-2s, a nutmeg, and he creates the first goal for us.
Yeah, and he's been really probably our most consistent player so far this season, hasn't he? He's been the one that's really stepping up. So, how do you think, moving forward, obviously with Decky has to play, he's pretty much probably our only undroppable player right now. So moving forward, is Maddison and Decky together? Is that the way forward, do you think, for the time being?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think so. I mean, I could see if he thought we needed some more defensive, if we're going up against City or somebody amazing, maybe having somebody with a little bit more defensive focus in the middle. But I don't even think he plays with a 6. I know Basuma and sometimes Bentancur is the closest thing we have to a 6, but it's still 2 8s. We don't play with a 6, so it's not that much of a difference. And we know Kulu can go up and down the pitch, bully people off the ball. Yep. He's got the legs. He's not necessarily the best tackler, but he's got the legs to hassle anybody. But again, we need to clone Kulu. We don't have the squad. I want Kulu on the right and in the middle. Especially now if Odegaard is out injured, there's just the squad is so thin. It's really concerning, and it has definitely crossed my mind. Is the ownership almost sabotaging Ange? Did they get some vibe that he wasn't going to last? So they just gave him all young prospects. I don't know.
Well, was it not Ange's decision to re-sign Werner? Werner.
Oh my God.
Werner was re-signed right beginning of the window. So I don't think
He was
we
our first
do
signing.
that. I don't think we do that unless Ange is the one pushing for it, in my opinion. And he was atrocious today. I mean, his injury probably saved us from a defeat because Decky came on. But what he got, obviously he went off injured. But what do we do with that situation? Is there any hope he can, improve?
I don't know. I can't believe he's worse than he was last year. I thought he would at least hustle and put in some crosses and get to the byline, and he can't dribble anymore. He can't do a simple pass. There's no chemistry. How does him and Udogie not have chemistry yet? I don't know. I remember the one of your guys' videos towards the end, it might have been right at the end of the window. And I think it was Ben was saying, if we were going to get Odegaard as our big wing, our big new wing transfer, we should have never got Werner. We should have gone big on a winger and let Odegaard be the the substitute impact player off the bench. Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you completely about that, Sam, because it's the same thing. All of our wingers are better off the bench, except for Sonny, obviously, except for Kulu. Johnson should be coming in every game off the bench, and he would be scoring way more if he was going up against tired legs. I mean, today kind of shows it. Him coming in. Well, I guess when did Odegaard get injured? It was pretty early.
It was quite early.
20th minute, maybe 25th.
But no, I think I agree with you. I think, and the problem with Odegaard being injured is he was signed because he's a specific kind of profile of winger we don't have, which is someone who can take people on and dribble. And now he's going to be injured for the next, 2-3 weeks or whatever, however long. I mean, Ange is saying it's a significant injury. Let's hope it's not a tear. If it's a tear, it could be months. But it didn't look like a tear. He was able to walk off. But if he's
let's just hope Werner got injured also.
I mean, could that maybe open the door for someone like Mikey Moore to get some game time?
Has to play. He has to play for me.
Is that side? Do you think if we do give him some game time, is that something that we can reap benefits from?
That's one of the expectations I'm definitely going to hold to Ange. I don't have the expectation to challenge for the league, like he keeps saying. I don't even have the expectation for top 4, but I do have the expectation if we're going to lean into these youth prospects, we have to trust them in big moments. And I don't know. So my expectation, again, I'm not expecting on-field success. I'm not expecting glory this year. What my expectations are, we trust young people in big moments, and we lean into this youth renaissance. I'm expecting a cup run, or hopefully 2. I want us to lean into Europa League, but any cup run, that's what I want. And there's already red flags. And the last one that I wanted is I expect us to dominate the lesser teams. If we just beat the bottom 10 teams even of the league, that's 60 points. Mm-hmm. And already I'm having red flags. Already my low expectations. We drew to Leicester. Okay, that was the first game of the year. We dominated them. I'm going to let that have a pass. Arsenal, we can't get anything going. He doesn't trust the young people. He said today that it wasn't flat. He's very contrary the way he answers questions. So maybe that wasn't the perfect definition, but it was shit. We were not playing good. So maybe it wasn't flat, but it was definitely disconnected.
Maybe flat is harsh, but it was actually shit. Yeah.
Flat was good.
Right.
Flat was too good for us.
That's hopefully. I want to ask you about Solanke as well. He's 3 games now, hasn't scored a goal. Are you concerned at all, or do you just think it's teething problems, or are we even being harsh to say he hasn't started well?
I don't know, man. We got 2 $60 million strikers in the squad, and it just feels like we didn't invest that $120 million well. It's early. I'm not writing off Solanke, but a red flag was, I think it was in the second half, he started dropping back to collect the ball. I was like, oh no. Oh no, he's supposed to be the fox in the box, just sit there and let us get you the ball. and he's dropping back like Harry Kane. It's like, this cannot be good.
Yeah. Well, let's hope he can break his duck sooner rather than later. But Philly,
Yeah.
lovely to chat to you
Yes.
as always, mate. I'll let you enjoy your
Good to
dinner.
see you guys.
Enjoy it.
That's right.
Hope
it's not burning on the stove right now.
Buon appetito, Philly. Enjoy your Italian food.
We'll see you
Grazie,
soon.
grazie. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on. Always good to chat to Philly, Ali. And now we have the main event. Who else? It's me. It's KPV. Kyle, how we doing, mate?
Big up, KPV.
Come on.
Good, man.
You got the England shirt on tonight, not the Spurs shirt.
Nah, man. Sorry, man. Like, I'm going to say this, but my local team Coventry should have won that game because I was born in that city, innit? So I had to cheer Coventry on, man. So local should have been, and as my mate said, we deserve nothing from that game. Absolute shit, mate. Same old story, shit game, shit performance, and we deserve nothing from that. Like, for everyone who's been abusing a certain Welsh person, like, yeah, we hate Wales, but enough. Stop abusing Brennan Johnson the same. He done to boo Vine a couple of years ago when he had missed them chances at Anfield and he had to turn off his comments. Stephen Bergwijn, isn't he? Got abused by Tottenham fans. Like, you're not a Tottenham fan. As Harry Kane said after the Euro final against Italy, if you're not an England fan, then we don't want you. Like, seriously, what the hell is going on? Stop abusing our own players. I said it. Like, stop abusing our own players. Go support another team, not us. Like the great Bill Nick said, there used to be a football club over there. Like, go support another team, not us. Why support us when we win? Why support us when we lose? Like, people also forgot to mention, we beat them lot 3 years in a row at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so it's level. They're now beating us. Like, we can't let them do this. And we were actually all over them lot at the weekend, and we should have.
Let's stick to tonight, Kyle. What weren't you happy about? What went wrong?
Performance-wise, isn't it? And some of the players, they just aren't playing for the manager. Like, not good enough, blood. Like, what's going on? Like, stop playing crap and play for the team. Like, players who we've had before played for the badge. Lamella, Toby, Jan, King, Ledley.
Should we bring back Lamella?
Bring back Eric Lamella, man. And
bring him back.
Bring back Teddy Sheringham. Bring back Teddy.
Teddy Sheringham. I like
bring
it.
Bring back Teddy, blood. Like, Teddy Sheringham would always score in this game. And
Fife probably would have done more than Solanke.
So look, Sheringham's never a player who needed pace anyway,
no,
so you could probably still play.
Like, I could score, and like, yeah, I watched.
So sign KPV as well. Are you a striker?
Yeah, I could play striker, and the good thing is, you and Ben put me up front with Brian and Expressions before the City game.
We did.
And you put Brian Hill in goal. You could have put my mate Natalie Powell in goal. I know she's watching this channel. Big up Natalie Powell. Big up, sis. And Spurs better not win my birthday on Saturday, lads. They better not win my birthday. Because
they better not win on your birthday.
No, they better not ruin it. They better not lose.
Yeah. That was your birthday on Saturday.
Of course it is, mate. I'm 28, fella. 28.
Jeez, happy birthday for Saturday, Kyle.
That's it. Happy birthday.
Let me address something, yeah? Like, the last time we had a game on my birthday, we lost 2-1 at Leicester in September 2019, and Maddison scored. We lost. So, Madders, you're at Tottenham, but you always seem to score against us, so you're not going to ruin it, because if you do, then you know what's going to happen, mate. You're not coming in my team, and I'll just block you, fella. So, do not ruin it.
That's your message to Madders.
Yeah,
score the winning goal, or you're being blocked.
Yeah, if he doesn't score, and like, I don't want to say anything else because you mentioned a certain defender when he
don't even Kyle, man, bring him up.
Him and Jamie Carragher had a little, one-on-one, and they had a one-on-one about derbies and players, and he mentioned it. So I'm not saying it, but you mentioned it, Sim. You and Ben mentioned it, so you two are now being detained. Why would you mention, like, was this about the Tottenham All 11 for the North London derby, and
you can't have that scumbag scoring against us on his return in 2010 when Danny Rose scored that banger. And yeah, and Big Ange disgrace tonight, taking off Bergvall. It's Man United all over again when Nuno took Lucas off. And yeah, we had to boo him because you don't take off Amsterdam hero and you took him off. Like Bergwijn scored against the Manchester clubs before COVID. He scored against City on his debut and then scored against United. So yeah, but fortunately just didn't work out for him. Yeah, we got to the final League Cup and Daniel Levy sat Mourinho 6 days, and maybe it's because he didn't start the right players or didn't bring the players to training or something.
Carl, who's your man of the match tonight?
Kulu, my boy. Kulu's sexy because I've got him on a Tottenham shirt from 2 seasons ago, 22-23. So Kulu, he's probably our best player this season. He's on form. He hasn't scored. Yeah, I know he scored against Everton, was it? Did he score?
No, he got an assist.
Oh, so he hasn't scored yet. He needs to score on Saturday. And the good thing is, Visser's injured and that wind-up merchant ain't there anymore. So Brentford, we already beat them earlier this year, and we're going to do them again. And I know we've got to play them at theirs. So I'm out, people. I've got to charge my phone because it's going to die. And just to let you know, I'll be going to London on Saturday, not to the stadium, but to a classic football shop. You can get retro football shirts, any football shirts, as long.
Well, make sure you show us what shirt you get.
I will, and I've got, So I'm going out, and then, I'm going to London, and then I'm going bowling in Saturday afternoon as well. So I'm going
bowling.
out.
So, what a day you're having. Let's just hope Spurs don't ruin it.
That's it.
Let's just hope Spurs don't ruin it. You best not check the score cards. I think just avoid Spurs for that day. Just enjoy your birthday.
Yeah, man, I'm out, man. Double duty. So, and we've got other games coming up. So, but we were a bit poor tonight. So, but a win's a win. We're in the next round, but I don't want Man City. I don't think we can get them until quarters or something. Is it?
I can't remember what the rule is. I don't know if
Let's hope they get knocked out before that.
Yeah.
I don't want City again because we lost to them in the league, in the FA Cup, and we all know Vicar was failed. But I don't want City because if we do, we need revenge. And I don't care who we get. I don't want them lot again because they beat us. So I don't want the scum. We need to get. I want someone better. Give me Preston North End. That would be nice. Preston North End. Give me Preston North End. Then that would be nice. Anyway, see you soon.
Nice to see you, Carl. Go on.
Levy out. Big up.
Take care, Carl.
Nice to see Kyle as always. But look, that's the end for the fan show. I want to thank Amir for joining me for all the drama that unfolded today, helping out with the fans. It's been crazy evening.
Doesn't feel like a victory.
Yeah, I know. It's still, everyone's still so down, even though we won, I guess. But look, we've got a big game coming up near this weekend. So let's hope we can get back on track in terms of performance-wise. We need to get back on winning track in the league. Big up to everyone who interacted on the fan show, everyone who called in, all the people who sent in super chats, all the people left comments. Let me just read a couple of super chats actually because I missed them. 6-yard boxes. Are we broken? Are we broken as fans think? A talk of winning SCR. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I'm not sure what that means. Nico says, look at these people laughing at their team and calling them shit. You could be critical and not miserable. It's not exclusive. Are we being miserable? I don't know. Maybe a bit. I don't know. But I think we're doing it in good spirit.
Look, I'm taking the victory. We're in the next round of the cup, but I can't come out of that performance feeling gleeful.
Yeah, you can't. We got to say it as it is. We were shit. We were.
Yeah.
We're going the next round. I'm happy about it, but we weren't good today.
No.
No one can.
No.
Tell
and if Coventry had won that 2-0, you wouldn't have any qualms with anyone because they played well. They created the most chances. They had the best chances in the game. And luckily, just that bit of quality off the bench got us over the line and got us the victory.
All right. Well, guys, thank you everyone for joining us for the fan show and for the watch along and all the drama tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, where we'll get Ben in the studio. We'll do all the post-match stuff for Coventry, all the player ratings and stuff like that. We'll get Ben's opinion on what unfolded and maybe getting some insight on what happened in the ground as well. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for all your support, and we'll see you very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.